Hello, is this thing on? Is this thing on? It's not muted. I've been doing this thing recently where I come on for a live stream and my microphone is automatically muted because sometimes when I plug it in, it just mutes itself for no reason, but it only does that every once in a while. And it seems to like to do it whenever I am doing a live chat, and I also forget to check it and whenever I'm doing a live chat. So I rebooted this live stream so that there's not a portion of it in the archives where I'm just going and talking, my lips moving with no sound coming out. Anyway, hello. Welcome to Alyssa Jean's live stream chat where I'm just going to drink some red wine and chat about some things. Just mostly things that I want to talk about on my channel, but I just don't have the time to sit down and do a whole video for. Welcome back, Brandon. Brandon Howells is joining me in the chat. He was in the chat of the first video that I aborted and started over again. So welcome back. I anticipate it might just be me and Brandon chatting with each other, and that is totally fine. The two of us can just have a little chat. I have some topics that I wanted to just talk about, but then we can talk about whatever other random things if we want to. And maybe others will join us. Brandon, you had said previously that it's too early for you. You're in Australia, so you said it's before midday where you are, I assume on Sunday. It's a little too early to drink wine. That's okay. You know, if you're watching this, grab a drink of any sort, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, or nothing at all. And you can drink nothing at all, or drink water, whatever you want to do. I will be drinking some red wine. Maybe that'll be my new thing when I do live chats. It'll be grab a glass of wine and come join me. I don't know. It was just an excuse for me to drink some wine. It just sounded like a good idea on a rainy afternoon. So I'm drinking some Cabernet Sauvignon, some Cab Sav. I'm definitely more of a red wine drinker. And I'm going to tell you the bottle in a minute because I only buy wine based off of the label, pretty much. So in case anyone thought I had any shred of sophistication in my body at all, let me relieve you of that delusion because I'm not sophisticated at all. I buy wine based on the label. Although first, it's got to be red wine. I'm not much of a white wine drinker. So I look at the red wines. Typically, Cab Savs or Pinots most often, and some Merlots occasionally. Though I have this complex about Merlots because of that Paul Giamatti movie. Remember that movie Sideways with Paul Giamatti and Thomas Hayden Church when they were just kind of going around California and getting drunk and whining about their problems. And Paul Giamatti played this wine snob, and he was like, "Don't make me drink a fucking Merlot." And at the time, like Merlot was like all I drank, and I was like, "But I drink Merlot," and like it gave me a complex about it, even to this day. But I still drink them, but not as often as I used to. So here's my pretty bottle. I don't know if you can see it. It's this. It's called Prophecy, and there's this beautiful artwork of this king like sitting on a mountain throne. Like his throne is made out of mountains, and when you look closely, there's like little teeny tiny mountain goats behind him. Here, let's see. So yeah, that's my pretty bottle that I bought. That's how I base my wine purchases, and that and like it's gotta be cheap, like under maybe $13 is probably the high end of what I usually buy. So anyway, I didn't come here to talk about wine. Came here to talk about other things. Brandon says it's Sunday and I've got ginger tea at my elbow. Great ginger tea. Brandon says I always meant to catch Sideways. I like Alexander Payne's movies. I recall it being quite depressing. It's been a while since I've seen it, but Paul Giamatti was good in it. Yeah, it was years. I remember seeing it. I remember what girlfriend I was with when I went to see it, and I broke up with her in 2005. So it was sometime before 2005. So it's been a while. I don't think I've seen it since I saw it in the theater. but I am still I still have that line ingrained in my memory. I don't drink fucking Merlot. Don't make me drink fucking Merlot, because I drink Merlot all the time and it hurt my feelings. Okay. Anyways, so when I first conceived of this live stream, I was gonna do like a my trans life update, and that's how I put it the um, in the calendar video that I did for December. I advertised this as a trans life update live stream. I'm not going to do that. I will talk a little bit about something related to that. And then I scheduled another trans life live stream for December 22nd. That's actually going to be a pre-recorded video, I think now. I think that I will have time to do it as a pre-recorded video. I'm getting ahead of schedule. I'm trying to stay ahead of my pre-recorded videos. So I probably will have time. It'll still come out on December 22nd. That will be a proper like trans life update, and it'll be pre-recorded, I think, on December 22nd. So I'm already changing my calendar, but nobody watches that anyways. I think those videos get like 30 views on it. Brandon is saying, cheer up. I used to drink cask wine in my 20s. A lucky escape. I'm not sure what you mean by cask wine. See, I'm very like unknowledgeable about wines. I buy based off the pretty bottles. And I know what kinds of wines I generally like. Red wines, typically. I was actually in a wine club. I kind of still am, like an online wine club where I like automatically contribute $40 a month, and then when I'm ready to order, I can use that $40 a month that I put into my account and purchase, a bunch of discounted wines, usually 12 at a time. I took a break from it, so I think maybe this month might be the first month where they start taking out my $40 again. So then I might start buying some more wine through there. That's always fun because then you can look online and choose the pretty bottles. And Brandon says you don't have cask wine in the USA. I mean, maybe we do. I'm just not familiar with it. Don't just think it doesn't exist in the US just because I'm not familiar with it. So getting sidetracked about wine, I might as well drink a little bit. Yeah, so here's the thing that is happening. December was going to be the month where I'm going to get my estrogen levels checked and see where I'm at, and then see what the next steps are going to be. If he's going to increase my estradiol level, my doctor that is, or maybe switch to injections. So I'm supposed to get blood work. I can get blood work whenever, but they're closed on the weekends. So on Monday, I'm going to go in after work and get my blood drawn to see what my estradiol levels are at. And then the doctor said we can do a video chat, which is the only way I've ever seen this doctor is online. So sometime after Monday, I'll make a video appointment, but based on past experience, it might be January by the time I get to talk to him. It'd be great to talk to him sooner than that, and we can discuss next steps. So Brandon says, is this a drinking game? I wasn't warned. No, it's not a drinking game. Mark and I did that once years ago. Back when I was known as Acton Tomko, we did a Game of Thrones drinking game, which was fun. We ended up watching 2 episodes, and I remember it was really fun through the first episode, and then we decided, I think spontaneously, like, oh, let's watch another one, yeah. And, I think that second episode, it was just not as fun, and we were just kind of probably sloppy drunk. And I believe Mark has done he's done them since without me, but I decided I don't want to do those anymore. But it was fun for the first episode. Brandon was there. Yep, you were there. It was several years ago, back when Game of Thrones was still good, when it was on the air and it was still good. So yeah, I think my video on December 22nd will give an update on all that stuff. And if I haven't seen my doctor, I won't have a huge update. I don't know who's interested in this, but honestly, like when I was considering transitioning, I would watch videos like I was fascinated by videos like that from other trans women, just about all these little updates about trying to develop their breast and all the medications that they're doing and all these different things. I was interested in that. I don't know if anyone else is, but I'm going to talk about it anyway, so I don't care. So, and if I don't have a real update on by the 22nd, I'll still do a video anyways. I'll have things to talk about. It's fine. So that was kind of going to be the main gist of this video originally, but I decided not to. I have other things I want to talk about. Let me take a little sip. Brandon, if you at any point have any questions or topics, comments, or anything, feel free. This is very free form. But let's see. Oh, so the last time I did a live stream, I did like kind of a rambling topic live stream, but I had specific topics that I wanted to talk about, which was the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer and Discovery, because at the time it had just been announced that Discovery, Star Trek Discovery, was not going to be available around the world. That has since changed. Luckily, now it is available around the world. That's good. But I did that video as live stream chat, and I was just going to talk about whatever random topics besides those two topics. And then the very next day, some news hit that I was like, God damn it, I would have talked about that in my live stream chat if I had known about it before. So I want to talk about it now. And this is a topic that I don't often cover on my channel. And that is the Great Evil Dead. I am a Deadhead. I have been since the 90s. I caught them just in time to see Jerry still alive. I saw them all my Dead shows in 1995, the last year of his life, which weren't very good shows. They were good for me because I had never seen them before, but I don't really go back and listen to them now. Well, I'll listen to other shows. And then since then, I've seen all of the different incarnations of the post-Jerry Dead bands. I don't really talk about it on my channel, though I did talk about, on one recent video, I talked about Fish, which is my other musical obsession. I'm still very much into them. But I don't typically talk about it on my channel. The reason why I want to talk about it is because the next day after I did that live stream, it was announced that Martin Scorsese is doing a Grateful Dead film, like not a documentary, but like I think he did a documentary before, and I think it was pretty good if I recall. But he's doing like a film with actors and everything, and Jonah Hill's going to play Jerry Garcia, and this was met by a lot of negativity in the Deadhead community. I belong to some, Grateful Dead related Facebook groups, and like it was just a lot of negativity about that announcement. About to me, like the most negative thing about that is on freaking Apple. Like Apple, really? I'm gonna have to get freaking Apple TV to watch this thing whenever it comes out. God. That's why I don't watch Ted Lasso. Everyone's like, "Oh, Ted Lasso is hilarious." I'm like, I'm sure it would be if it was on Hulu or something that I actually have. I'm not gonna freaking get Apple. But I guess I will whenever this movie comes out. Since I haven't even made it yet, I assume that it's gonna still be a while. But a lot of negativity about Jonah Hill. Then there was all these memes going around where people would take like a picture of Jonah Hill from when he was younger, like when he was in Superbad or one of those dumb movies I never saw. Took that version of Jonah Hill and like Photoshop him into a picture of Jerry, and it looks kind of ridiculous. And it was meant in a very negative way, and yet I still kind of found it really funny. So it was funny seeing all these memes, even though I disagree with the idea behind them, that people were hating on Jonah Hill. And the reason why I think Jonah Hill could be good at Jerry, I think he could be good at anything, is because of that show Maniac, the Netflix show with Jonah Hill and Emma Stone from 2018 that my brother Mark over on his channel raved about it and named it as his #1 show of the year. At that time, I hadn't started doing top 10s yet, so I didn't name it as anything, but it was definitely a very, very high quality show. And it was a limited series. It was only 1 season. And Jonah Hill was amazing, and he showed incredible range as an actor in that show. So based off of that show alone, I think he has the range to play Jerry Garcia, and I think that people are going to be pleasantly surprised if they allow themselves to be. There's this certain segment of the Deadhead community. They're just old curmudgeons, and they have already decided what they don't like. A lot of them already have decided that they don't like the fact that John Mayer is currently in the latest edition of the incarnation of the Grateful Dead. They've just decided, well, he's some cheesy pop star, and I just hate it already without even listening to it. And he's a goddamn good guitarist, and he has grown to really love the music, which makes him good at it. So I love it. My only complaint, it's called Dead and Company, this incarnation, and my only complaint about them is they definitely slowed things down. But I think that's because the other members, the surviving members of the Grateful Dead who are in that band, are just old. So its music's a little slower. And that's the biggest complaint about that band. But it's not John Mayer's guitar playing. He's great. And his singing is great as well. He sings much better than Bobby or Phil or any of the others surviving members do. But anyways, just a certain segment of the Deadhead community have decided that ahead of time that John Mayer sucks, so they're never going to see it, or they're just going to hate on it and make fun of him. And there's going to be a certain segment of the community that will do that with Jonah Hill as well. But if you have an open mind as a Deadhead and you watch it, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised how good he's going to be. I do wonder about his weight. Jonah Hill's a little bit on the chunkier sides. He could put on more weight to be older Jerry Garcia, but are they going to do the 60s and 70s Jerry Garcia? Because he was skinny then. He started gaining weight late 70s. By 1980 he was starting to put on some weight, and then by 1990 he was fat. So I wonder if they're going to cover which era they're going to cover, because if they cover the whole thing, he's going to have to go from skinny to fat. But I'm sure they can make that work. So I actually kind of wouldn't mind if it was just focused on one era, just 80s and 90s, and not because I've seen so many movies, origin films about musicians. I also hope they don't do a Bohemian Rhapsody where they completely distort reality. But actually, I was hesitant about Martin Scorsese when I first heard about that, but because I don't love his films. But when I think about him as the musical stuff that he does, he actually is pretty good. It's usually documentaries. So I'm sure, and he's also a fan of the music. He's familiar. I don't know if you would consider him a Deadhead, but he is familiar with the music and loves the music. So I think he'll do it justice. I don't want to see another Bohemian Rhapsody type thing where they just make up their own story and put it in there. Rami Malek was fantastic in Bohemian Rhapsody, but once I found out how much they changed reality, I was like, well, what's the point of this movie? But also, I have seen the musician origin story film so many times. So I would be totally fine if they just say, okay, we're in the 1980s now. We're starting here. I would be totally fine with that. But I don't know. Okay, how far back do you listen to the Dead? Do you mean how far back did I start listening to the Dead, or how far back will I go and listen to them now? Because if it's the latter, then I'll listen to the whole catalog. So I don't listen to. But the thing about the Grateful Dead and Fish, you don't listen to studio albums ever, never, ever, ever. You listen to the live recordings, and there's a lot of high quality soundboards for both bands. And I also have Sirius XM Radio, which has a Grateful Dead channel and has a Fish channel. And if you listen to the Grateful Dead channel, they'll just play whatever all over the place. But I will listen to yeah, going back to the 60s, I like listen to some of the old stuff. I think my favorite era would probably, and this is cliche amongst deadheads, this is pretty common, would be the 70s, 73 and 74, and then also 77 and 78. And all Brandon says, all I really know is Blues for Ella. Actually, as far as studio albums go, Blues for Ella is a really good one. That was 75. All right. I don't want to get into Deadhead speak because nobody will know what the hell I'm talking about. Let me take a sip of wine and then I'll move to a different topic. Yeah, but Blues for Ella is a good album. Anyways, I don't want to get, I could just talk about the Grateful Dead and nobody will know what the hell I'm talking about. So the other topic that I wanted to definitely get into, because I don't feel like doing a whole video on it, but Mark recommended a show to me called Dopesick that's on Hulu and it has Michael Keaton in it. And so I watched it and I loved it. A really, really good show. It's for those who don't know, it's about kind of how Purdue Pharma, not Purdue Farms, where the chicken is made with Frank Purdue, but Purdue Pharma, the pharmacy, the pharmaceutical company, kind of made opioids legal with OxyContin. And the film takes place between 1996 and 2006, but it kind of jumps around different times. It's told in a very nonlinear fashion, and covers how Purdue Pharma got away with putting an addictive opioid on the market and claiming that it was not addictive, and then a lot of people got addicted. And so it covers it jumps around to different time periods and also different perspectives from all kinds of different characters, from the people at Purdue Pharma themselves to the sales reps to this DEA agent played by Rosario Dawson, who is trying to take them down. And then later on, there's in the timeline after Rosario Dawson, there's these U.S. attorneys. One of them is played by, I think, Peter Sarsgaard or something. Name sounds really familiar, but I'm not. And he looked vaguely familiar, but I'm not super familiar with his work. But yeah, so there's these U.S. attorneys. And then it also focuses on this small town in Virginia, because in like the Appalachians, like a mountain town, small little town, because that was the areas where they decided to target first with their OxyContin, was these little mountain towns. And that's where Michael Keaton is. He's this little small town doctor. And Michael Keaton is really good in this film. Rosario Dawson, or film, show. Rosario Dawson is really good. But you know who steals the show is this actress I was not familiar with. I think her name is Caitlin Devers or something. I looked her up and she's been in a bunch of stuff, but I'd never heard of her. I never watched. It was all stuff I'd never watched before. And she's young. She's playing a character who I think starts off like in her late teens and then ages up to 23 by the time it's over. She plays this kind of closeted lesbian who lives in this Appalachian town where it just totally would not be accepted for her to be out. And then she ends up getting addicted to OxyContin. And so this actress is phenomenal. She's a show stealing performance. It kind of reminded me of how Carrie Coons came out of nowhere and stole the show in the first season of The Leftovers, like that kind of powerful performance. I went in expecting a great performance by Michael Keaton, which I got. He was good too. He's really good too. But this Caitlin Devers chick, somebody needs to give that chick an award. I don't know what kind of award. I guess it would be Emmys because it's TV. I don't care. Give her an Oscar. Give her a Grammy. She deserves an award. She was so good. Golden Globe. She can get a Golden Globe. She was so good. Show stealing performance by this young lady. I will watch for her and other things. She's so good. A lot of great acting performances all across the board, though, and really, and I like the way that they told the story. Mark, when he told me about this, compared it to the film Traffic, except instead of focusing on the international drug war, it focuses on the United States and the Purdue Pharma and the pharmaceutical opioids, the legal drugs. And I actually don't remember the movie Traffic that well, to be perfectly honest with you. I think Don Cheadle was in it, and Michael Douglas was in it, and Antonio Banderas, or was he in it? I don't remember. And I think it was a similar format where they showed different perspectives, but I don't really remember that film. But Mark says that Dopesick is better, and I believe it, because Dopesick is really good. If you haven't seen it, I definitely do recommend checking it out. It's on Hulu, and I don't know where it is internationally. I don't know how all that weird stuff works internationally, but in the US, it's on Hulu. And Mark, I think, watched it as it was airing. It was airing weekly from October to November. I binged it because I didn't know about it until Mark told me about it. Brandon says Dopesick is on Disney Plus in their country. Oh, well, there you go. Here, like, Hulu and Disney Plus are, like, I have a combined subscription where I pay one price to get both of them combined, and also ESPN Plus is in that. But ESPN Plus gets you crap. Like, you don't get to watch games on it. You just get to watch stupid shit. So I don't ever watch ESPN Plus. I'm kind of thinking that I would get games that I could watch. But anyway, so I pay one price for Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN Plus. So I assume they're all like the Disney conglomerate owns all of them. Randy said you were on Oxys in 2013. Well, I hope you didn't get addicted and got off of them. I don't know, but then you should check that out, Brandon. You might be interested to see that. I don't know. What else? Geez, I feel like there was another topic that I wanted to cover. Besides, those were the three big things that I definitely wanted to talk about. Trans identity, the update on that, getting my meds, seeing the doctor, blah blah blah. The Martin Scorsese Grateful Dead thing, and Dopesick. What else was I going to talk about? What else have I been watching lately? I'm trying to make my way through. It's just a slog, but I'm trying to make my way through season 7 of Voyager. Season 6 of Voyager took so long because I just thought it sucked. And then season 7 is taking a while. And I was actually I had a good rhythm. And I told Mark my goal was to get it done by the end of the year so that we could do a discussion on it, because we did discussions on episode or seasons 1 through 3. Then we did another discussion on seasons 4 and 5, and we need to do a discussion on 6 and 7. So I told him I should be able to have that done by the end of the year. But then Mark had to go and tell me about Dopesick, so that kind of distracted me. So then I went and watched Dopesick, and now I've lost momentum from watching Voyager again. But I gotta get back to it. Such a slog, and then I'll take a little bit of a break, and then I'm gonna have to slog through seasons 1 and 2 of Enterprise before I can get to season 3, which is the good season. I was thinking I might do the films, like the original films. So the 6 original cast member films, Star Trek 1 through 6. Because somebody, one of my regulars, I forget which one it was, I have some very dedicated subscribers who comment a lot. Brandon is one, of course. Brandon's been with me for a while, but then there's a couple other ones. One person whose username is Life in the Void, and there's another one, and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name, or their name, I don't know what the gender. Somebody asked me if I was ever going to review the Star Trek films. And that made me think maybe I should do that. Maybe like one film a month. Take my time with it. So I'll have to buckle up and sit through the motion picture, and then I'll probably have to get wasted when I get to Star Trek V because God, I hate that movie so much. Like, I probably have to just get wasted drunk just to survive it. But that's on my radar too. Maybe I'll do the films and then wait a little bit before I have to slog through season 1 of Enterprise. Oh my God, season 1 of Enterprise! I gotta watch that shit again. So. Okay, so Brandon says you weren't addicted. That's good. Sympathies for season 6 and 7 of Voyager, dear soul. I know, it's so hard. And Brandon says yes to the movies. Yeah, I would like to. I never have on my previous channel either. Mark did all of the movies like a while ago. I think I'm just gonna do, at least for now, just the 6 original ones, not any of the Next Generation ones or any of the, God, no, none of the friggin' Abrams ones. Eventually I might, but I already kind of did one on First Contact. It was my unpopular opinion video about why I think First Contact is completely overrated. It's not even really a good movie. So I've already done one. And then a couple years ago, before Picard came out, I was doing like a countdown to Picard kind of thing. This was on my old channel before I transitioned, my Acton Tomko channel. I did a countdown to Picard thing, and I did kind of a review for Nemesis because you could tell that Nemesis was going to kind of tie into Picard a little bit. So I went back and watched Nemesis and sort of talked about that, and that movie sucks. I think all of the Next Generation movies suck. My favorite one is actually Generations, which gets crapped on a lot, but out of all of them, I think that would be my favorite. And I don't even remember a thing about Insurrection. I think I saw it once. I was like, God, this sucks. And I think I never saw it again. So maybe eventually I will have to go back and suffer through those too. But in the future sometime, I'm going to start with the 6 original films. Star Trek 1, where Nomad has been before. Good one. Yeah, Nomad. Of course, you're referring to The Changeling, the original series, how it's pretty much a ripoff of that. And the other thing I remember about that movie is just long, boring sequences of the people standing around. I love the Lower Decks in the first season when they did their parody episode of the films. They have this scene where they're going around in the shuttlecraft and looking at the Cerritos and going, woo, ah. It was like a direct parody of the motion picture. It was so great. Yeah, Brandon says, you don't remember Insurrection? Lucky you. Yeah, I feel like one day I might have to make myself suffer through it again, just out of curiosity. Just so I can hold a conversation about that. Maybe when people talk about it, I can understand what they mean. So, yeah, well, Brandon and I are here, it was inevitable that the conversation would veer towards Star Trek. Yeah, so take another sip. Brandon says you read the book. You read the books? the books that go along with the movies? I think I might have done that when I was like a kid. I think I read the book to Star Trek 3, but other than that, yeah. I did not read the books. Let's see. Yeah, well, I can't just sit here and go, but I feel like there were other topics that I wanted to talk about. And as soon as I get off, I'll go, God damn it, I wanted to talk about that. Oh, we've got somebody else joining me in the chat besides Brandon. Yay! Maddie Jester, sorry. Maddie Jester just got in. Sorry, a bit late. If you've already been asked, how are you on your Voyager rewatch? I did just talk about that, but I can repeat it. I am struggling to get through season 7. I think I'm up to episode 11 or 12 or 13 or something like that. So I'm almost halfway through it. I was actually in a good rhythm, and then Mark had to go and suggest that I watch Dopesick, and that derailed me because Dopesick was really good, and so I got into that. Now I don't feel like going back. I'm also trying to take some time to reread the first book of The Wheel of Time, The Eye of the World, which I read 20 years ago, and I'm trying to read that too. So that takes some of my free time as well. So it takes away from my Voyager rewatching time as well. And I'm still far behind where the show is in my reread because the show is going Wheel of Time. The show is going very quickly. Okay, Brandon says I blame Mark for suggesting you read the book. Read the book for what? The motion picture? Did he suggest you read the book for the original motion picture? Yeah. So that's the answer to your question, Maddie. I am struggling through season 7. The goal was to try to finish it by the end of the year, but I don't know if that's going to happen anymore. I'm kind of lost my momentum. And I'm going out tonight. I'm not going to be around to watch it. Maybe tomorrow I'll get back into some Voyager season 7. And I've watched the good part of season 7 so far. It hasn't been terrible so far. There has been a couple bad episodes, but some decent episodes in the first part of season 7. Brandon asks, how far through the Eye of the World am I? So I'm at they kind of the start of episode 3 on the show, although it doesn't really line up 1-to-1 because everything's shifted around and changed and things are taken out, things are added. But basically when they first all excuse me. When the characters first separate from each other, a little bit past that, they have just recently separated where I'm at. It's somewhere in the 300s page-wise, going very slowly. Here's the thing. I need eyeglasses, or reading glasses, rather. I need reading glasses. I've never had any sort of glasses in my entire life, but I definitely struggle with print, and I'm better off in the day. I actually can read better in the day, even at night, even if I have all the lights on. Just because there's no light coming through the window, I have a harder time reading. So it's making it slower. I do have an appointment for a couple weeks for an eye appointment. My first one ever in my life. I've never needed glasses. So I don't know how this works. I assume that I'm not going to be walking out of there with reading glasses. I assume there's this long process and it'll be like June by the time I get glasses or something. I don't know. That's how most things seem to work. So that's what's kind of it's making. So I haven't been reading a lot in general lately because of that. And yes, I know I could get the audiobook. That's what everybody's going to say. But I also like audiobooks to me are good for like when I go on long trips. And it was good for, I used to have an hour commute to work and I no longer. I only have a 15-minute commute to work. So I'm just not in my car enough. And I don't typically sit around and listen to audiobooks. So, however, that said, maybe for book 2, I will move to audiobooks. I'm not going to. I've already started reading. I'm not going to like try to switch halfway to the audiobook and I have to fast forward to the part that I'm at somehow. I'm not going to do that. But maybe for book 2, I'll do the audio. I should have done it for book 1 because reading, like, it has to be the right time of day and I can read more easily. I can read at night, but it's more of a struggle. So I need reading glasses. Get a Kindle. Yeah, I could do that too. But I don't know. I've tried Kindles before and I kind of prefer the paper. So that's another option too, though, because then I can make the print bigger. But I'm just going to get reading glasses. Okay. You're up to chapter 8. I think it's like chapter 16 or something that I'm on. All right, Maddie, are you still around? You have any other questions, any other comments, any other topics? Because otherwise I might be running out of things to ramble about and I may need to get out of here. Maddie, you drinking anything? Doesn't have to be alcoholic. Brandon's drinking tea or ginger tea. It's totally fine. Just curious what people are drinking. And since Maddie is the second person to join in the live chat, I'll try to do these monthly and maybe eventually I can get, 2 to 3 people, 4 people. That would be fun. Even when I had these live streams on Acting Tom Goes Reviews, where I had quite a bit more subscribers, I never got a huge turnout on these kind of random live stream things. I used to call them Q&As. I would get a bigger turnout when I would do Game of Thrones themed ones, because that was when my channel was like at its peak during Game of Thrones. So Maddie says, just came back from a friend's birthday, so I had a few pints. Well, cheers to you, my friend. I am just warming up, so this is actually probably going to take a break and eat some food in a bit, and then going hang out with some friends. Then we're going out to a live show, a band called Lettuce. They are, which I'm sure none of you have heard of, but they're like a funk band, kind of like the Tower Power, big horn section, funky music, very fun to dance to. I saw them not too long before the pandemic at the same venue that I'm going to see them in tonight, and they were a lot of fun. So I'll be probably drinking some more, but I'm going to take a break. And don't worry, I'm not driving anywhere. We're taking a Lyft or an Uber. So it is all good. Okay, Brandon is asking, have added much to Wheel of Time TV show? I know Perrin never had a wife. Correct. And that's a lot of, that's a sticking point for some people, including Brandon Sanderson, who is the author who finished up the Wheel of Time series, because Robert Jordan died before he finished them, and Brandon Sanderson finished up, I think, the last 2 or 3, and he was approved by Jordan's family and all of that stuff. And he's a very good author too. I definitely have read something by him, and I can't remember what. But anyways, he was one of his big critiques. He's consulted on the show, but one of the things that, the same way George R.R. Martin was, and George R.R. Martin didn't have ultimate control of Game of Thrones, and he hated. I'm still seeing articles pop up on my feed now about how George R.R. Martin really didn't want them to do what they did in season 7 and 8, and even 6. He didn't like what they were doing in season 6, although I liked 6. So anyway, Brandon Sanderson, my point that I was trying to make, he is very much against giving Perrin a wife and then having him accidentally kill her, and that did not happen at all in the books. And because he says, like, for the things that Perrin needs to do in this book, that now you've added this extra thing that he's killed somebody, and there's really no way to give that the weight that it deserves and still have Perrin be the character that he was in the books, or do the things that he needs to do, that they just added this big, heavy thing. And, I can kind of see that point of view. It's kind of how I felt about last week's Voyager episode, Voyager Discovery episode, where they had that Kawat Malat, at least I can't struggle with saying Kawat Malat, that lady kill the Starfleet dude, and I was saying, like, did they need to do that? Like, couldn't they have just had it about her stealing dilithium from Starfleet, and then they go after her, and then the beginning would have matched the ending? So it's like the killing thing that added this big, when you kill somebody on screen, like, you're adding a big weight to the character that needs to be followed through with. It needs to be taken seriously. So I can understand that point of view from Mr. Sanderson, though I will say I wasn't hugely bothered by it. But I can definitely see where he's coming from with that. Let's see. So Brandon says, like, it's only about 7 p.m. for me. Nope, it is 4:50 p.m. Where I am. Earlier than you think. Egwin is dead. Fake out? Did they fake out that she died? I didn't notice a fake out. I also didn't notice that Tom Marilyn actually died. So that escaped me. Oh, you must be talking about the Nynaeve death fake out. That's probably what you're talking about. Yeah, that was kind of unnecessary, but it doesn't really hurt the show that much. I just like, why did they do that? That was kind of silly. You're talking about Nynaeve being dragged off. Maddie says, "Are you feeling positive about Discovery season 4 so far? I hope it gets better, but I have a feeling they're going to kill someone off." Saru, I've talked about them possibly killing. I think they're going to kill someone off. My vote is on Book. I think it has to be someone Michael Burnham cares about. Saru would be a candidate, and that would also take care of the how are Saru and Michael Burnham going to coexist problem. But honestly, I think it might be an interesting story arc to kill off Book. As much as I love David Ajala, like I actually don't. I'd be sad to see him go. He's crushing it this season. He is killing it. Love what they're doing with Book. That character like seemed a little, I don't know, extraneous last year. Like he was only really good for the first few episodes when he was Michael Burnham's love interest, and then it was like now that Michael Burnham is back on Discovery, what is he going to do? So I was like, why are they keeping this character on the show? But man, they came up with a really interesting story arc for him. Very realistic portrayal of grief. And unlike Star Trek in the past, it's not just easily solved with the snap of a finger. It's real and it's prolonged over episodes, and you see him going through different phases. I love it, and David Ajala is crushing it. So it would be sad to see him go. I don't really want them to kill off anyone, but I have a feeling you're right. It could be Saru too. Like I have a feeling they might kill off somebody this year because I just feel like with all the setup of President Rillick telling Michael Burnham that she needs to be able to learn to let go. She needs to be able to make the hard decisions. She needs to be able to put the rest of the crew over her feelings for one or two people. And we witnessed that in season 2 when she couldn't kill Ariam. And she would have been the death of everybody if that other lady hadn't done the right thing and killed Ariam. But I feel like Michael Burnham's got to let somebody die that she cares about. I feel like that's almost inevitable. I'm just a little worried it'll be too Star Trek 2-y. And hopefully it won't be like, I'm sorry, but the Into the Darkness where they did the reverse Star Trek 2 scene with Kirk and Spock, that's so dumb. Ugh. And Spock is just way too emotional in those movies. But anyway, I digress. But to answer your larger question, Manny, about how I feel about Star Trek Discovery so far, I'm feeling very positive on it. This last week's episode was my least favorite, but it doesn't like ruin, like it's not like, oh no, the season sucks now. It's not like that, not yet. I still think that it has a chance to be very good. Yeah. Alrighty. Brandon says, "Oh, gods and little fishes, Tilly has intuitive diplomatic skills." I'm not sure what you're talking about. I do think it was bullshit that they sent Tilly onto that mission that should have been a tactical officer. They were going after some criminals. You don't take Tilly to that. As my brother pointed out in his review, well, they ended up needing her. She ended up coming in handy because they needed an engineer there. Yeah, for plot contrivance, they happen to need an engineer. But it doesn't change the fact that she should have never been on that mission because they're going after murderers and criminals. There should be a freaking tactical officer. It made no sense for Tilly to be there. And I will say that to my dying day. And well, Mark's not in the chat, so I can't give him a hard time. But I was about to say something he would find really controversial. I'm not going to say it. All right. Okay. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about, Maddie or Brandon? Because otherwise, I might just go get out of here and go drink wine in my own time. I've just been sipping it. As you can see, I haven't gotten through a whole glass during this live stream, but I was drinking a little bit before. All right. Okay. Yeah. Brandon says I messaged Mark on Discord, but he's idle. I'm sure he's working right now. I didn't necessarily schedule this at a time that he wouldn't be working so that he could join. So I just wanted to schedule at a time that worked for me, and whoever showed up, showed up. Whoever can't show up, can't show up. Whatever. I will be doing some discussions with Mark though on the Expanse. I was originally only going to do 2. Now it looks like I'm doing 3. It looks like I don't know exactly what the reasons were, but Don really had to drop out. So there are going to be some weeks where it's just going to end up being Mark and Darren and no third guest. And then I picked up one of Don's weeks. So I'm now going to be doing Expanse discussions on the 18th, 26th, and sometime in January. Rob from Smirkin Reviews wants to do the finale. So he's going to do the finale with them. I'm going to do 3 episodes. We're talking about the Expanse. I'm going to do 3 episodes of the Expanse now. I can't do episode 1, which is next week, because I have another engagement on Saturday night. But I'm going to do episodes 2 and 3 with them. And episode 3 he was going to do them all on Saturdays. Darren doesn't want to do one on Christmas, so, which is fair. He has got a family, kids, and all that stuff. So that week will be on the 26th. So I'm going to be doing some discussions on the Expanse. And also, speaking of discussions, this upcoming Thursday, I'll be over on D's Reviews, Thursday, December 9th, talking about episode 4 of Hawkeye, which I'm enjoying a lot more than I thought I was going to. I'm going to be honest. I had very low expectations for this show, and actually, I think it is pulling off kind of the sort of, not really buddy cop, but kind of like, I don't know, 2 people bantering with each other, that kind of dynamic is pulling this off way better than the Falcon and Winter Soldier. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was trying to do that, but give me Clint and Kate over Bucky and Sam a million times over. It's a much better interactions, much better dynamic. I'm really quite enjoying it, actually. I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. So I will be discussing that with Darren on his channel, These Reviews, Thursday, December 9th. It's going to be 6 o'clock for me, 9 o'clock for East Coast, and the rest of the world. You got to do your own math. And I'm talking PM, obviously. Maddie says, I just want to say I always miss the streams with you and Mark, and they are so late my time. I've enjoyed speaking with you, even so briefly. Yeah, I'm glad you got to jump in. I'm glad I got to do one early enough for you to join me. And Brandon, yeah, that's why I'm behind on the wheel time listening to Leviathan Falls. Oh, that's one of the Expanse books, right? Yeah, Mark has been trying to convince me to read those. I gotta be honest, I'm not into the story enough to want to read the books. I like it. I'm happy to discuss it with Mark. It's a good show. I'm just not. He considers it one of the best shows on television. It's not for me, which is fine. So I'm just not into it enough to be motivated to read the books. When I read sci-fi or fantasy, I do tend to read. I prefer high fantasy. I'm not really into reading the space-based sci-fi. I don't really enjoy reading that. So I doubt I will ever read the books for the Expanse. I'm far more likely to finish the Wheel of Time series, all 15 books or whatever, before I read page 1 of the Expanse. Sorry, Mark. That's just my personal preference. But I do enjoy the show, and I will enjoy talking about it with Mark and Darren. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of good stuff coming. A lot of good stuff coming in December. We've got the Expanse starting. I'm kind of curious about The Witcher season 2. I know a lot of people are hit or miss on it. I know Mark doesn't like The Witcher. I'm curious to see how the Wheel of Time finishes up, and then Spider-Man: No Way Home. My God, if that isn't the best movie of the year, then I'm going to be disappointed because the hype is just up there. The hype machine is real for that movie, and they've convinced me that it's going to be the best movie of the year. So if it's not, then it's going to be a complete failure. So you better be careful, Kevin Feige, about how you hype things up because the hype machine is for real. Yeah. All right. Are you guys going to watch any Doctor Who, or is it not your thing? Not my thing. Doctor Who has just been a blind spot for me in the realm of sci-fi. I have tried watching it at various times throughout my life in various incarnations of Doctor Who. I just can't get into it. I don't know what it is with me and Doctor Who. I will even try to force myself through like 2 or 3 episodes at a time, and I'm like, it doesn't grab me, and I just give up on it. Can't really explain it. I just can't. I can't get into it, and I haven't tried in several years. So yeah, I don't know why. It's just a blind spot for me in the world of sci-fi. It looks like Brandon is watching Flux, so you guys can have a little chat about it, but you'll probably have to have it elsewhere because we're going to get out of here soon. All right. How many different Doctor Who's has there been, Brandon? Hasn't there been like 6 or 7 incarnations of it? Like, I know the dude from The Leftovers was Doctor Who at one point in time. I know that. Yeah, well, I've been on here almost an hour, and I keep thinking I'm about to go. All right, I'm gonna get out of here, and then we just keep on going and going. 13? There've been 13 Doctor Who's. Wow, I was thinking like half of that, and it seemed like a lot. I mean, I guess it's been around since what the 60s was the first one. Like it's been around a while, huh? But. Yep, Brandon says yep, since the 60s. 13. Wow. I did not know that. All right, so this is just getting a little silly now. We are closing in on that hour mark. I have a little timer on the corner of my screen. You guys can't see him at 57 minutes. We're going. It started in November 1963. Wow. Yeah, I guess there would be time for 13 different incarnations of it since that time. Okay. Thanks for sitting here and chatting with me, Brandon. It's been fun, just mostly me and you. And I'm so glad that Maddie could come in and join. Really appreciate having a third person into this discussion. I will attempt to make this a more regular thing, so hopefully I can get other people besides Brandon and Maddie. It started the day JFK died. Huh, interesting. Doctor Who, I assume, started the day JFK died. Interesting. Okay. Thank you, Brandon. Always a pleasure as well. Thank you, Maddie. And if anyone actually sat through all of this, watching it in the archives, well, cheers to you as well. I couldn't imagine anyone like not being in the live chat and sitting through all this. But if you did, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So I will be back next week for my Discovery and Wheel of Time review. I'm also, as I mentioned, doing my chat over on D's reviews on Hawkeye episode 4. So we kept busy. And then next Friday, we'll start my series of the best and worst of 2021. So I'm starting with my video on the most overrated show of 2021. And I won't tell you what that show is until you watch the video. And that's going to be dropping December 10th, next Friday. Okay. It's been a pleasure, guys. It has almost been an hour exactly. I feel like I should just sit here for another 53 seconds so I can make it 60 minutes exactly. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make it like 59 minutes and like 30 seconds or something. Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. This has been fun. I will try to make this a regular thing. Maybe we'll have a different pretty bottle next month. All right, everybody. See you later.